our history is just a group of Omis making games for Omis, and we are going to be a company, not a DAO, so we can keep things up and running and focus fire and produce games that hopefully you all enjoy and can partake in, and we're going to try and make them all as accessible as possible through Matic and other chains, so you don't have to have heavy bags to be able to participate. And we intend on trying to reward those who also have been holding tokens of various Ohm communities, such as Rome, Ohm, Klima, and others such, by giving you in-game benefits for holding tokens, cards, items, etc., access to events, as we want to reward the community for participating it and for, in turn, being active in our game. So by being a part of the community we like, we want to give you some free shit to cut to the chase. And through that, we are working on more and more things for the community, but we're, again, setting our sights short with a card game to get something out quickly and within a reasonable time span for you all to be able to enjoy. And from there, our list of games will hopefully grow. I think that covers our history as a development group. We did run into a few, I guess we could
setbacks.
say...
It'd be more of setbacks than anything.
Yeah, but we kept developing onward, and in month 7, we're finally making very much real progress, where we have artists from game companies such as Wizards of the Coast, Blizzard, and other trading card games, or any kind of game that involves high-end art. And we've been in contact with them, and we're starting to finally roll out some art. As you saw in this announcement post for this AMA, that is the Spear of Olympus. That is one of Zeus's equipment items he gets in his deck. However, that is the masterwork version. And overall, we intend on all of our cards being that level of quality, but not all of them are going to be full art as that. Those are going to be less common, but we intend on not skimping on the art. We want to make every card something you would almost want as possibly your phone background because of its quality.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Maybe tell also a little bit about yourself. Like, where was your background? What did motivate you to really take this and make this a project, make this a thing, right?
Okay, I guess I'll start with myself. My educational background is telecommunication, fiber optics, networking, but relevant to this is software engineering. And I used to design video games as a hobby, and I would focus on anything that was a strategy based. And I somehow became involved in working on a board game with a few friends and helping them balance it out. And then from there, that led me down a very deep path of years and years of D&D content creation, to the point to where I've written over 10,000 pages of D&D content. All of it homebrew, none of it ever really published. But at the same time, I've been involved with tabletop or board games for years now, and it's really aided in the experience I have in terms of making cards for this game. As if you all have ever played any competitive card game, you know that guy who had the cheese deck who would just win turn 1 or turn 2. That was me, and I am sorry. But that also gives me a really good insight into games of how we can make it very fun, rewarding, and more importantly, not able to be won in 30 seconds. Because we want you all to have fun and not just break the game. So we intend to work on balancing and everything during the developmental months of the game to iron out any and all issues. And that's all my relevant backstory for this. However, I would also like to just point out the other projects I'm involved in, as some of you may have seen me. I'm one of the co-founders for Phantom DAO recently that partnered with Olympus. I also help in a couple other Ohm fork projects with policy, so you'll often see me around, in not just Alpha, Omega, or Phantom. I'm in quite a few communities helping out now. And Smiler, is this an Olympus game or a partnership? This is not a partnership. We are an independent group like Odyssey, but we're making games for the community of Ohm, because as OG Ohmies, we saw there was interest in games early on, and we've been working for the past 7 months to make that a reality. And I guess I'll let Kage introduce himself as well. Take it away.
Hi, I'm Kagetsuki. Was longtime welder, but kind of quit that field after COVID hit and went fully into the crypto space. No Sleep introduced me to Phantom DAO and Nova DAO, where I became a moderator in both and kind of grew my circles on learning the space and learning new people. A lot over here today, and I appreciate you for coming. I have a decent amount of content creation to the point of I ran so many D&D games to the point I have about 5,000 pages of backstory slash game mechanics that I've created myself, and I am a leading. I've been in the Magic game for about 6 years now, and I've kind of learned and kind of grew upon learning their mechanics and stuff. I've learned from the Pokemon trading card game. I learned from Yu-Gi-Oh. I've been a big collector of card games for years, and at one point I'm just like, why don't we make our own? And that's when we got with No Sleep, 18, Zeus. After we kind of went over the MMO, and we saw that that's a way down the line thing. And don't get me wrong, we may still do that, but right now we need to focus on something a little more focused. So we decided on a card game. And honestly, this has been a big dream of mine. I've always wanted to do this. And there, I just kind of just been growing my social circle with everyone, and I hope to be enjoying this project with everyone. Thank you.
And also
That sounds great.
sorry, go ahead, Wardle.
No. That
Right.
sounds great. I think that's a good introduction. There are some questions here that I might want to echo here on the recording, because we're recording this, right?
Oh yeah, I was
So
actually going to just restate those because I've been answering those in text so people can see them, and then I was going to read them out. So the questions I answered is, where will this be built? Olympus Pro. My answer, independently. We're working with game studios, and we're going to contract them by ourselves and be the direct overseer of what they make for the game, instructing them in how to go as we please with it. And we're also going to be working alongside Odyssey, as they will be our marketplace. Shout out to Odyssey again for basically working with us on their back end for their marketplace, as we intend to keep as much of this game and any of the profits within the Ohm community. So when you play our game, you're not only helping us, you're not only helping the Ohmies involved and hired by us, you're also helping Odyssey and the great Ohmies who've worked on so many projects with them and the artists they employ. Again, shout out to Odyssey. Great group of people. And they've been very patient with us on this, as it's been a very long road.
Very patient.
The next one was, is this game going to have utility for Alpha Ohm holders? Yes, there will be certain cards, card packs, and things that you can only buy with Alpha Ohm only. And once that Alpha Ohm is spent, we burn it. It will never leave us.
maybe for the people that are not very new, but or not very old, Alpha Ohm was a token which was actually existing before there was any Ohm. So when there was the IDO, people got Alpha Ohm instead of Ohm, and they could at launch exchange it for 1 Ohm. So there's only, to my recollection, I think 50,000 Alpha Ohm out there. So yeah, it might become a very, very scarce resource if this game, of course, takes off. So that's already some alpha for the people that are joining here. Okay, Interesting. Like maybe talk a bit more because people are here asking a bit also like what will be the relationship with Olympus, right? Like or what are you how are you envisioning this this
With
partnership this of like yeah to be
with our partnership with Olympus, since we're primarily working and funding on our own, we don't have any direct partnership with Olympus, as we're operating in similar to Odyssey, where we kind of act as our own entity. However, because of all the help and assistance, we plan on forever giving, as long as me and Kage have any say, 3.3% of our profit to the Olympus Treasury as a token of appreciation for all the support and the first donation to our treasury ever by Zeus himself. So we plan on repaying that in kind, regardless how much the 3.3% of our profit share ends up ever being. As without them, we wouldn't have been able to even get this far. So it's the least we can do and add a benefit to the community.
We want to make sure we fully appreciate Olympus and Zeus for all he has done for us, even though he's not able to physically help us step by step.
As well as our treasury, aka the money we have after we get funded and any profit, will also be keeping a significant portion in Essom, as we definitely believe in the product. And on top of that, we are also going to offer discounts in the marketplace of up to 30% if you spend Essom as your purchasing token in our marketplace.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and there is no cap on what you can buy with Essom at that discount.
Yeah, and I think that this ties well with like the entire idea that we also laid out in our last community call, right? We would like to encourage this ecosystem built around Ohm and things like this that is not just purely around DeFi, but also the gaming world, which is getting extremely hot right now, is a key thing. That's very cool to see. Will there also be some type of like what is the theme of the game? Is it themed in like a Greek style, or what is the style? Like what are the artwork you're going for? Maybe talk a bit about that.
All right. Well, the artwork, we plan on having each god having their own art style, and the neutral monsters being these abominations drawn by Yan Li, who is a artist most known for Magic the Gathering and Flesh and Blood, to rather gruesome at time card games. And he's going to be focusing on the monsters. But each individual god will have their own style, their own color palette. So you'll be able to tell a Zeus card from a mile away because it's focusing on yellows, the cloud structure, and the bright whites of Olympus. And with Hades, all of his cards involve gold and obsidian and green sickly colors because, as the god of the underworld and the god of wealth, two things are going to be ever present: his undead and a brimstone home, and his golden throne. Because one of the lesser known things about Hades is, whenever you die, if you have no people to leave your wealth to, you pass it on as you cross the river Styx to Hades himself. So, in a world of gods going to war, you can only imagine the amount of wealth he's accumulated.
Our own Hades will love to hear that, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's been dying for it. But oops.
Kage, you wanted to say something as well? Or?
Sorry, I've been answering questions in the chat.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Oh yeah, you can take those.
Yeah.
If you can go over them, indeed.
So Oxray asked, would this game be able to play tourney style? If so, maybe we can funnel some proceeds back to the Olympus ecosystem. And we actually have a whole process around doing a tournament style to where not only we can host tournaments and have grand prizes for what you pay as entry fees, but players can also host their own tournaments, even small ones. We even plan on having whale tournaments at one point if that's what people want to see. So honestly, that's kind of what the partial of the 3.3% that we'll be dishing out to Olympus itself is going to be.
Yeah, because our ideas for the tournaments of setting monetary limits on the decks is to encourage creativity or all-out extravagance. Basically, we're going to have, if anyone knows Magic, we're going to have pauper tournaments, meaning a deck can't cost more than $20 to enter this tournament, ensuring everyone has a fair chance, because $20 for a deck, everyone has that limit. Everyone is going to be using the same range of cards, just who is ever better wins. But then you also have the extreme extravagance of the whale tournaments, where you can watch people with the biggest, fattest decks of cards just go smacking each other with nothing but legendary and mythic and foil cards, and you're just like, what's going on here? So overall, we're trying to set up different brackets to where if people don't want to go all in for a very competitive deck in whatever format becomes relevant, they can find one that fits their playstyle or their budget, as we don't want to feel anyone is being locked out because they don't have the money. We all started broke.
That's a nice summary. Okay. So someone was asking what chain it would be on. Like, of course, Matic. Yes. Okay, that's already been answered. People are getting excited. That's good to see. I see also some people wanting to come on stage. I'll pull up one of them. Crypto Knights, I think. If you're able to join, you're welcome. If not, I can pull up someone else. If you would like to come on stage, please put up your hand. Okay, Crypto King, here.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Welcome.
So, hey, well, I'm very excited about this alpha. Nice to wake up in the morning and hearing some major news like this. But just a couple questions. I was trying to find the cards, kind of the cover, what it look like, and what the whole thing is going to be about. But I also, did I hear right that if you have tokens, will you be getting like an airdrop of those cards? You have Clima, or you have Olympus or other projects, or was I wrong?
No, you heard us correctly, but to be specific, if you hold certain tokens, you'll be given certain free items in the game. A few of them are to be determined, but with a few of them, it's almost already set in stone. As I leaked this alpha to the Bong Bears, since they're the ones who are going to get this one. Basically, if you own any of the Bong Bears, which is kind of a NFT community that spawned out of Olympus in the early days, and a lot of OG Ohmies hang out and own Bong Bears, and it's almost like a secondary Ohm community itself. Anyone who owns any of the Bong Bears or any of the later generation ones, they get access to a Bong Bear themed Zeus deck, where you get the Bong Bear Zeus card as your playable character icon while playing the Zeus deck. And all of your cards are going to be reskinned to be Bong Bears, or some kind of variation of that card being replaced with a bear.
Okay.
And it's going to basically be a joke reskin of the entire Zeus deck that only people who have that NFT get access to. We plan on having other things similar to that for people who hold tokens of the other Ohm projects, as well as possible cards they get access to or benefits. The only thing that's set in stone right now is each group of community of Ohmies, they're all going to have their own custom flavor of at least one god. The Bong Bears get the Bear Zeus. Clima gets Demeter, the god of nature and the harvest, which is pretty fitting because of their environmental stance on crypto and how they function. Rome is going to get Ares because he is the god of war, and what else is Rome known for? And it's going to follow in that fashion, to where if someone has a very, very nice bear deck, they hold Bong Bears, and they probably hold some Ohm. And it's also a fun way to reward different communities that came out of Ohm, because we don't intend to keep all the benefits within Ohm itself. It's to other communities that also partner with or spawned out of Ohm, whether it's directly partnered, sanctioned, or not. As long as it's a friendly community of Ohmies, there's a chance for us to add value there.
Beautiful, beautiful. And are there I'm very new to this. I love the idea and everything. for a couple of weeks was looking to DeFi Kingdoms, and this sounds like way more interesting, way more I think elaborated than them. I mean, they're doing an amazing job. I have a lot of friends that are in it. But is there like a site we can look it up or anything? Like I got myself is just and Climber, and that's all I know. I mean, I aped into back in July. So if you can maybe there could be maybe a guide on the announcements to how to like get involved into this. That would be amazing because, like I said, I'm very, very excited, and I would love to ape in.
All right. Well, due to circumstances beyond our control, the old server has to be abandoned, and the new server for Alpha Omega will be released as soon as we're able to get in contact with
I already did.
Excellent.
So he's able to open it up, but he wants us to have an icon for it because we just have an A for it right now. So I'm just trying to figure out what we can use.
We'll worry about the icon later. I think we could use the Spear of Olympus, honestly, since that's
thinking
our most
about
prominent
that.
card. Yes.
Imagine a 3D version of that. Like if someone was able to make that, that'd be dope.
But sorry, Crypto King. Could you repeat your question? Apologies.
Yeah, no worries. If like it would be like myself, and I know the community is probably knows a little more than this, but I only got I aped into in July. Been holding since. I aped into Climb on pre-sale. I love the two projects. They're very, very amazing projects, and I want to get involved. I know this new idea, this new cards game. What's the best way to start? Like, how can I start just by owning and Climber? What's my next step?
That's the best thing we can do. The next best step is joining the new and improved Discord that we're going to be running, because the other one, due to circumstances beyond our control, was locked to an inactive account now. So as we reform and basically have the Discord be reborn, as we have completely come back full steam, everything that is involved in the game will be announced there. When our website goes up, the game company we will be working with and anything else regarding that will be updated directly there.
Okay, very exciting, very exciting. Yeah, guys, I'm very happy about this because I've been mentioning I try to join every MA and every voice call that we have with Olympus and Climber. I know there's one with Climber later on today, but and I've been kind of looking into the NFT space. I'm not very familiar with it yet. And I always told myself, I'm like, yeah, you can pay, with Solana, you can pay with Ethereum, you can pay with Avalanche and why not? And I always told myself it would be super nice. I know that it's currently going on with Squid DAO, as we speak, where you can buy NFTs with them. And I told myself, it would be super, super cool if, will become part of a game like this. And I think this is huge. I think it's huge. I mean, if people don't understand what it is, look up online, DeFi Kingdoms, look up online all those other games, and you'll see how big the communities are. And yeah, guys, I think you guys are going to nail it and kick ass. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely.
And we hope you enjoy the game.
Oh, I can't wait.
If we have anyone else who would like to hop up as well, we can continue with the questions before we resume. Oh, we have another. Welcome.
Yes, hello.
Hello. How are you?
Hi.
Hey, how you doing, guys? I'm just trying to have a couple questions regarding the different prices with Ohm that's reflected.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look on like Coin Market Cap, there's a couple. There's V1 and V2. So
Yeah.
if I'm looking to invest, or what is the difference?
Okay. Sorry. This is an AMA regarding some
Hold
other
on 1
project,
second.
but
I gotta change my. Give me a second. I can't hear you. Let me change this to the speaker.
I'll answer this one.
All right, go ahead.
Intermezzo. Hi.
sorry.
No. So as I was saying, this is an AMA around a project that wants to use Olympus. So I'll be quick here. But the only version that you should look at is V2. So V1 is being deprecated and yeah, it's being migrated to a new token. So the only token that you need to look at is V2 Ohm. That should answer your question.
Okay, got you.
Perfect. Thank you, man. Okay.
Yeah, I guess
then
just to
we
clarify, we will only be using V2 SOM, and there are no
exactly.
plans at the moment to be using GOM, as we would have to figure out how to best price things and modify the prices as often as possible to make sure it's accurate. So at the moment, the only way you'll be able to purchase cards is through either Matic stablecoins that we will release a list of for, and SOM. Those are the
And
only purchasing options at this time.
we're hard setting the pack of cards that we're having wrapped at 10 stable coins. So it's cheap to anyone, whoever wants to get in.
Each pack contains 5 cards. Each pack is $10. And to save on gas, you can buy any number ranging from 1 to thousands. It's up to you, your budget, and how much you wish to spend. However, buying any large quantity is cheaper with SOM, so you just want to keep that in mind.
We just asked, don't try not to go over 1,000 because it's gonna really slow down everything.
I wouldn't say it slows down everything, but just spend appropriately. Anyways, do we have any further questions? I guess related to the project and not anything related to V2 or V1 of SOM, just for clarification.
Okay, I'll
Dr.
pull
Monk,
up.
looks like he has something.
Yeah, there are 5 people. I'm pulling them up in order.
Okay.
All right.
So that go. Oh, that go God boss. Jesus Christ. You're welcome on stage, man. Hi. We can. Okay, now we can hear you. I think. No.
Welcome
Or
to the
not?
stage, Dago.
You have to unmute yourself if you want to speak.
Yeah,
If not,
I'm still good. But yeah,
you.
I noticed that when you guys moved to the GS sum, I am no longer
Yeah, did he fall away for everyone? I think it was
receiving
a.
what some tokens. Did you get what I was? Did you get my question?
No, we
No,
did
but
not,
I think this is
unfortunately.
related to migration. Is that correct? If so,
Yeah.
I would try to maybe direct you to the question channel because this is an AMA around another project at this moment. If that's okay for you, happy to answer it there. Just that we
Yeah,
have consistent messaging.
you were saying
Okay.
something concerning migration. So does that mean until I migrate, I will not be able to receive the rewards for the staking?
No. So if you migrate and it's GOM, it's automatically staked as well. Like it's wrapped staked OM. Everyone who migrates gets rewards. Even if you don't migrate, you get rewards. But migrating is encouraged.
Yeah, but my balance is not increasing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, GOM doesn't increase in balance since it's wrapped. But if you unwrap it, you'll have more SOM than what you started with.
So my SOM, I have not migrated. It's still on SOM, so the SOM is not increasing. It's just
yeah,
fixed.
Sir, I think
yeah,
you've
your
chosen
S.
the wrong platform to ask for help, as this is an unrelated project to this, and you would be
Exactly.
best to direct it to ask in the questions channel, as you would get a much more direct and full answer there. As of right now, this is
Exactly.
focusing on a card game, sir.
Yeah, I'm happy to
Okay.
help you. I'll hit you up in DMs. Okay, I'll move along to the next question here. We have a couple of them waiting.
Thank you.
Couch Rishi. These names, man. Hi, how are you?
Hey, hi. I'm doing good. Thanks for pulling me up. I don't know if this is the right platform to ask this question. Did you
Oh,
mention card game? Sorry.
yes. card game.
Yes, this is
I-
for a card game that is based around Greek mythology and built for the Ohm ecosystem.
I got it. I do not have a question relevant to this thread, so I'm going
Okay.
to just take
Okay, then.
pass. Yeah.
Okay, then.
No problem. Go to the question channel, I would say. We have mods there waiting for you.
I guess
Okay,
to
Monk.
clarify, okay, Monk has a question.
I think so. Welcome, Monk. If you can come on stage. Hi.
Yo, what up?
Hello, Monk. It's been a while.
No, I joined a little late, so was gonna have you just do the whole presentation over again for me. But no, I'm just curious if you guys gonna record it. I actually saw some PDF or something that someone was floating around, so super pumped about it. But just curious if you're gonna record it and put it out, and that was my main question. Looks super
I
dope.
believe this AMA is being recorded.
Cool. Yeah, super pumped about it. Art looks beautiful, and maybe someone else can jump up and talk about Geom.
Yeah. So thanks again,
I'm
everyone.
not surprised.
No. It's legitimate. So if you have questions around anything to do with that's not a card game, please go to the question channel. If not, I'll pull you on stage. Freshwater Degen. Let's see. Hi. How are
Hey,
you?
how's it going? Good. I have a question related to a card game. Is that okay?
Oh, I think you're at the right place.
Oh, okay, good. No, no, long time player, MTG since '93, and every permutation since. Just wondering if you can talk at all about the mechanics themselves. Just give a quick hit on what it'll be similar to or dissimilar to. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Well, I guess this is where I'm going to draw our relevance to Hearthstone in this fashion, and then I'll bring in the other game that heavily influenced us, Gwent, as we have a crossover between both of them, and you'll see the mechanics deployed from both the games in here fairly easily. With Hearthstone, you understand how if you pick a character, they have a special ability they can do every turn, and they have unique passives, as well as access to unique cards, correct? Well, the similarity we have with that is we also have that system where each god has a specific armory of cards that they can pick from. And then there's a large pool of neutral cards that they can add any of them to their deck. So Zeus has some cards that only he can use. Hades has some cards that only he can use. And these solidify their play style. But you're not permanently locked in that because by using the different neutral cards, you can augment your playstyle to be more passive, utility, or defensive, or just straight up aggressive.
And trust me, there's plenty of them.
As well as after you get into a game with someone and you realize their god counters your god and you're going to have a tough time, you have a mechanic where, unlike most games where you have a health bar, our game is once all your buildings are destroyed, you lose. And depending on the buildings you pick, they have different utility and function and a health bar. So depending on if the enemy god is better at stalling out a game and winning in the long run, and they counter you by doing that, you can pick buildings that allow you to get out monsters faster and rush them in hopes of taking them out quickly before they can build up a defense.
For instance,
So even when you get into a game and you realize they are basically your kryptonite, you can still try and build to counter them even after the game has started by selecting a slightly different beginning setup than you normally would.
Sounds similar to the original L5R game with the way that the land worked in that. Sounds very interesting.
And the mechanic of Gwent is, if anyone here is familiar with Gwent, you understand the tiered system. If you're not, here's how it works. Melee can only attack melee. Ranged can only attack ranged. Then you have buildings in the back. Typically, only corresponding rows of melee to ranged can't attack each other without a unique modifier to the card. So ranged can attack ranged, melee can attack melee. And thus, that's the tiered system with Gwent. But where we bring it in different is there are modifiers that you can apply to certain cards to allow them to attack multiple rows. And that creates cards with great utility. And then you have specific cards that only target buildings, which are going to be very far few between, but very powerful. Because in the canon of our world, a god's followers are their power. Once you destroy all of their temples and you kill their followers, the god has no power in this plane, and they basically fade from existence. And that's what this is. Gods fighting to be the last one standing by eliminating the followers of the others to where only their followers remain, making them the only person with followers, therefore the only god remaining. It's the Pantheon split where they're all basically duking it out to be the last one standing.
No, it sounds really, really interesting. I don't want to hold the stage here, but I'd follow ups. Interested to know kind of where you guys are at. You know, how far away you are from getting something into the hands of everybody out there. But secondarily, ways in which you're looking for help that the community could help you. But I'll leave the stage and let somebody else jump up after you.
I like to
Justin.
say
Thank you.
you're the only one that is really. You're actually talking about the card game, so you're already doing fine, bud.
Also,
Yeah,
we
that's
are
how
in
you go.
talks.
Appreciate it.
We are in talks with game studios, and we are talking to them about the resources they offer, the staff they have, their work history, the game library they've produced, and the cost of development for the game. We are balancing these all out to make sure that we bring the best product we can to market, because if a studio is the best one objectively, but they only make first-person shooters, that's a red flag. And we need to figure all of this out over time. So it's going to be a while for the game to come out, as we anticipate it being available for alpha or beta testing in Q1 of next year. However, we will be dishing out all of the art over the course of the next few months. And we will be releasing content, updates, card lists, etc., releasing any content we have for you guys as often as we can.
I'd also like to state that the reason why it's going to take us a minute is because we don't want it to be just a normal 2D game. We're actually going to have animations for each and every card and a 3D model coming out of said card as you play it.
Think of it a la Yu-Gi-Oh games, where you see the card on the battlefield, but as you attack and use the cards, a monster pops out and there's various animations. However, we are obviously going to go to a bit higher degree of animation and quality.
No, that sounds outstanding. Yeah, the watch out I'd have is when you're negotiating with those studios, make sure they don't have a clause where they can just shelf it if they don't like where things are going. Make sure you can have an out at some point. I've had had that happen to too many board game friends that have been launching projects.
We're gonna get our own lawyers and stuff just to make sure.
We will be a fully in their eyes non-crypto company, as we will be paying them in cash, and we will be funding ourselves with crypto in the back end. But as far as they're concerned, we are a company commissioning them a game to make, and we will have our own company, we'll have our own legal, and we will make sure that this game comes out as intended and comes out as intended by the time of release, because we're going to work up a contract with them and make sure that everything that we need is met. That way we can ensure the highest quality game that we can until we're able to develop our own in-house studio, because in the end goal we would love to have an in-house studio, but at the moment that is simply going to take too long, so an outside studio and outside resources are required.
Yeah, it makes sense. One foot in front of the other. I appreciate your time. I'll let somebody else jump up. Good luck to you. I'll be watching closely.
Thank you for your questions.
Okay. Quercus. I hope that's how I pronounce your name. Like, I've seen your name a lot of times. Hi.
Hey guys, I had a quick question about a card game. Do you guys have plans to let people recycle if they have duplicates of cards, any sort of like disposal? Because you mentioned that there's going to be a fairly low cost to cards. So if you get players accumulating large amounts of cards and say they want to dispose of some for maybe a chance at a higher rarity, do you have any sort of system in play?
We do have the open marketplace if you check out the PDF. And let me see exactly what page it is.
It is on page 5.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Yeah, and we anticipate to add people to buy, sell, and depending on the card rarity trade on the open marketplace that we will be hosting through Odyssey. And if you get large numbers of duplicate cards, you can buy or sell them between each other, and the market determines the price, and you can even trade for packs.
I'll also state that we're going to be putting in a system to rent out cards and decks that the players will predetermine themselves.
Yes, and if any card or deck rental or sale or purchase happens on the marketplace, we will take between 2 to 5%, and the actual amount of money we take from that card purchase or sale decreases the higher the cost of the card, because we want the players to have most of the benefit from their cards being bought or sold. As the only reason we're taking a larger percent of the cheaper cards is because doing lots of cheap transactions will eventually build up cost. And on the more expensive ones, the more expensive the card, the more value we let you keep to ensure that we don't overstep our bounds of how much profit we take out of your hands. And anyone who uses OpenSea and losing 20% of your sale from fees can attest that sucks.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Perfect. Good questions. I really like the interaction here. So if you want to come on stage and it's not related to anything to do with migration, but an actual card game, I know it's it's a change. Please put up your hand. Parsiva1. Hi. Hello. If you maybe your mic is not set up correctly. Sometimes it's the case. No.
We'll
Still-
give them a minute, and I suggest we just pull someone else up on stage while they test their mic, and give them just a minute or two. So let's pull someone else up.
Sure.
All right.
CDA coach Jay. It's up to you.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Hello.
Game sounds cool. Love it. I love your sources of inspiration. I was a big fan of Gwent. Did play Hearthstone a long time ago, back when it first came out. So I'm excited to get my hands on this game. I know my question here is kind of like future looking, and I know you're just probably worried about getting the game out. But when you mentioned Gwent, two things came to mind. I'm just curious of your thoughts on it. One is, do you plan to have a kind of like a single player campaign like Gwent sort of had come out? I think it was on the Xbox. Where you could sort of play through and you get the cards and you sort of run through a Witcher storyline. That's question one. Question two is, have you considered sort of a reverse Gwent? I mean, Gwent was kind of a game inside of The Witcher, got pulled out. With so many P2E games coming out, it could be an interesting partnership, and apologize if you already said this, to have like small versions of your game in other P2E games and sort of have cross-breeding there. Introduce your game, you guys could have a card introduced back to their game and sort of just build a little more connections. So those are my thoughts.
We are definitely open to that second one. And as well with the first question, the single player, if the game launches and we are able to focus on just releasing content and there's no patches that need to be worked on, no balance fixes that need to happen, as you well know with live game services, those are often the bane of the development team's progress. If we have none of those and we have the ability to, we would definitely put that to a vote, because despite not being a DAO, we would love to take community feedback, and if there was enough interest in a air quotes single player version of it that you could play in your browser, that would just check your cards and see what you have, and then you would be able to play the single player browser game with that. That is definitely something we would look into. We are not opposed to taking ideas from the community and seeing how we can run with it.
Awesome, guys. I'm excited. This is I'm kind of jumping into this out of nowhere to hear about this project. Just one last follow-up question. Where's this PDF until I can get into your Reborn Discord?
It's pinned in the AMA question channel just above the actual AMA that you're in right now.
Gotcha.
Mortal pin.
Okay.
No, Z pinned it. Apologies.
Alright.
And you can read through that, and that covers everything that we are willing to answer and go over here. But we are also willing to go over anything else that is relevant that we are able to share.
Awesome. I'm excited for you guys. Look forward to trying it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming up. And Parzival, were you able to fix your mic issues?
Check.
There we go.
Hi.
He speaks.
Awesome. Sorry about that, guys. Grand Rising. I actually have a car game question. I hope you guys can answer. No, the bulk of the question I had at the beginning there was answered in the first couple. But one of the things that stuck out to me that I was thinking of, coming from playing quite a bit of Hearthstone, I really enjoyed the game. Definitely was one of the ones that stuck for me the longest in the last decade. So it's really cool to see this project, and pretty excited for it. One of the things though that didn't catch me was that Battlegrounds game mode. And with your guys's game, is that something that you are going to be focusing on mostly with it, like the auto player, I guess, model?
What do you mean auto player? I guess if you could explain.
It's like the Battlegrounds game mode where you kind of like set up your deck and then you push start, and then both opponents sort of auto attack one another. I think Legends of Runeterra and a couple other games do it like that. Whereas I was more interested in like the standard Hearthstone game mode.
No. There's not going to be any AI or autopilot or so. You play the
Our initial launch is just player versus player.
Sweet.
And
yeah, that's good to hear.
And I'd also like to state that we are honestly thinking about doing tag teams and stuff. We notice a lot of games don't do that anymore, and we figured that'd be pretty interesting as well.
For those who play Magic, this would be two-headed giant or two-headed dragon format, where you either have separate health pools and you win together or lose together, or you have a shared health pool, and when you go down, you're just down. We're looking at that, but due to the complexity of the card decks, we're going to have to make sure that there's no overlap of broken combos. And because of having two gods being able to play off each other's combos, we're going to have to do a lot of playtesting to balance that, but that is on the timeline to release. And there is a mode that I think you'll be happy to hear about that you get huge rewards for if you win. There will be days where me and other staff randomly log on, and we have the most busted decks in the game. And that is a surprise mode that will be randomly announced or not even announced, and we're just playing, called Defeat the Dev. And if you beat 3 devs, or you beat 1 dev 3 times in any combination of that, you get special items that will only be given to those who beat the devs. And the only challenging part about us is we don't have any special cards. We don't have any cards that only we have. We just have access to every card, so we can build the best deck. But if you're able to beat us, you get a special prize.
Really cool. Appreciate the questions and answers here, guys.
No problem. Thank you.
Take care.
Perfect. Thank you for coming on. Glad you got the mic working. 2 more people. Citizen. Let's see. We have 2 citizens. We have Citizen 907 and then World Citizen. So.
1 second. I did see a question that we did not actually answer yet. That is from SC Nightshade. Card game question. Do the different gods have different type of cost for playing? Example, inscription. Each god does not have a separate cost. They all use the default mana system. However, they all have different average card costs across their deck. Ares focused solely on spamming his soldiers. They're all cheap, but they're all weak. And he focuses on outnumbering you and strategy with ranged or melee or battlefield implementations. And Zeus focuses on spells and AoE. So there's no different types of costs for different decks or different mana types, but there are different focuses and different average costs between the gods. Some gods are going to be mana hungry, some are going to be very cheap and able to rush. So there's no differentiating mana systems, but you're going to have a different focus on your resources with each god.
I'd also like to state that goes for the colorless cards as well. It'll be varying in many different aspects.
Yes, but every god has access to the colorless cards, as those are just neutral monsters or creatures within the world. Only the colored cards are locked to specific gods.
Okay. Citizen, you're here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
Hey, Osiris here. I've been playing Magic the Gathering since about 98, competitively for about 10 or 13 years.
Nice.
And I know, yeah, I in fact, I play every week for about 8 hours a week or so. But I know that we've gone through many times where cards had to be banned, even with all the playtesting in the world or modified in some way. How often do you think you're going to need to address issues like that? And what does that process like physically look like from a blockchain perspective?
Okay, that is actually tackleable on the game end because, well, first and foremost, we're designing each god to act individually, and as long as there's no infinite combos with the neutral cards, that means individual gods can not be broken, and therefore that's fine. The only issue is when gods who were never meant to overlap partner up in the 2v2 format, which we talked about. That's the one we're worried about possibly being broken, going to need playtesting. Everything else is pretty standard, as each god has their pool of cards, but they're all able to pull from the neutral pool as well. So that's not worrying us too much. And in reference to the game being able to block them, in the format, depending on which cards are acceptable or are known as a broken combo, we can simply input in the game that if you're playing two gods versus two gods, to not allow these cards in decks, and before you're able to sign up for this format and go into air quotes the matchmaking system, you must remove these certain cards from your deck, as they have broken mechanics within this specific format that we have to limit. And or we might release a alternate version of the card that, as it reads the NFT from your MetaMask and it sees that you have this card, it functions differently in each format, and we can have the game data change the card's functionality from one playlist to another, depending on what you're doing. So that's simple enough. It's simply saying, I own this card, give me this card in the game, and depending on the format, we might be able to rebalance a few cards for the two-headed god format, where we weaken the card or strengthen the card in balance to make sure that it does not create any infinite combos.
We either may do that or just exclude it from said gameplay. Would probably also be an option.
Yes. But we would like to ban as few cards as possible, because if you just have to simply make a card and then stop people from using it, that's a bad card.
Oh, yeah, agreed. But we all know that it happens, right? It happens in every card game for forever.
Oh, yes. But Magic having a ban list of over 400 is excessive. They're banning entire sets of cards.
So do you think that, let's say in a worst case scenario, you had to, these are NFTs that have value, right? Now that NFT becomes worthless, you know, what are you going to do?
We're going to make sure that every card has at least some use in some format. Like the low-cost common cards are going to be extremely useful in Pauper tournaments, where the entire idea of the deck is to use lower-end cards. So even common cards may have a significant price point if the Pauper or common card-only format takes off. It all depends on the market, how everyone uses the cards, how everyone interprets the cards and their value. Because after you open the card pack, you set the cards to whatever price you want, and we have no influence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. No, totally understand. Well, when you're ready to get some really hard, if it can be broken, we'll break it. Let me know. I have a number of people where, we've had some friends that have released games, and we have a little group that breaks the games. So just hit me up, and we'll will help you test.
That'll definitely help us out in the future, honestly.
Great to see. Perfect.
Yep, and that's all for me.
Questions overall? Maybe yeah. Thank you for joining. That popped a question in my head, right? So say you have a card that is quite powerful. People see that it indeed is maybe a bit broken, and they start purchasing it, and some guy or girl purchases it for quite a lot of money, and you then adjust it afterwards. Won't that generate like an issue? And how do you foresee that?
Kage, would you like to take that?
Oh, sorry, I was answering someone. Literally, someone asked a question. Sorry, can you repeat the question? My bad.
Yeah. So my question was more related to say there is a card that's very powerful, maybe a bit too powerful. Do people start buying it because it's powerful, right? But if you then have to adjust your game, and the in-game value of that card goes down, of course, the intrinsic value of that card also goes down on the market. So how do you then see people being able to be compensated, maybe because they paid quite a high price, or do you always just say, look, we'll always do these leveling out of the meta, for example, and that is a risk you take when you purchase a card?
Honestly, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, honestly, the second option. And then I was going to let Kage handle the rest of that, because
Honestly, that is in the case of any card game you get into. That's in the case of Magic, Pokemon. We see it all the time. The value of cards go down regardless of the rarity or the usefulness. It's just how card games are, and that's honestly the price you pay when you get into card games. We all know this. We've all played card games. Am I right, people?
and sometimes you buy a cheap card and it ends up becoming the entire staple for a meta, and it becomes the most expensive card in the pack. And that's a chance you take with card games. However, that's also why we're only charging $10 a pack. We're not trying to make this where you drop hundreds of dollars for a single pack of cards and play RNG with your money. We don't want you to play RNG with your money. We want you to play RNG with the game and just play the game, because we don't want this to be a slot machine.
Again, it's based on the players that put up the prices on the markets. It's not on us at that point. So
And also,
if you bought a card for that price, that is on you. And that, again, that's how a TCG player does it. People put up the prices of the cards, and if you buy it at that price, you buy it at that price. It's the same thing if you do on OpenSea or NFT, right?
Yeah, and as well, we've already spent 7 months balancing some decks, and we're going to continue balancing more cards, because we're only going to launch with about 4 to 8 decks, however many we can get balanced at the time, because each god has their own independent pool of cards. So we're able to work on each one singularly, and we'll be releasing them as free content as they're developed.
Okay, that explains.
I did see an interesting question. Will you include new DAOs in the future? Yes.
Yeah.
As some of you may already know, I am involved with Diatome in policy, and that is one of the DAOs I am considering adding a benefit to in our game, where one of the joke items I was thinking of giving them was, if you hold a Diatome, not to shield the project, you would get a Poseidon card, where instead of having his golden trident and him wearing a golden and white toga, he is wearing a garbage bag, and his trident is now a giant plastic fork with one of the prongs broken off, so now it's a 3-pronged fork. Joke cards such as that. Diatome is one of the ones we're considering heavily because of their idea of what they're doing coinciding so much with Clima, and we like the team.
Okay. Good. Let's see if there are other questions still.
Diatome whales, we're not entirely sure of if we would give them any kind of special benefit, because, as stated prior, we want to reward the entire community, not just a select group of people.
Otherwise, that'd be very unfair to the overall community.
Yeah, and for example, one of the more rare ones right now would be the bong bears, as there are only so many people who can throw up anywhere between 1 to 50 ETH for a bong bear. However, as the bears keep rebasing, they'll get cheaper and more people will have them. Therefore, anyone wanting to access the cards that are given to you by owning a bear, you get a cheaper and cheaper entry price the longer you wait. However, each bear can only claim the pack once. So we're going to have to definitely come up with a system that lets you know if a bear has already claimed its pack.
Isaiah said that Appleians should be on the list. Yeah, I can't say.
That's all right. Aplians, we are definitely willing to consider with them if they have any ideas. It's just a little hard to put aliens or anything of that obscurity into this without completely throwing off the theme. However, we already do have an idea for a meme community card pack where all the cards are memes. And you would see some really dumb art.
I'd also like to say it's literally the art that is presented by said community. We will use we will have a voting system within the Discord that we'll be established later to choose which card art should be used for said cards.
Yes, there is definitely a plan for a community pack where we would release about 50 cards in that pack, and it's entirely voted on by the community what meme cards get added in, and then it's off to the races from there. Then there would be a limited time pack.
Okay. Good, guys. I think we are closing in on the hour here. To make it digestible for people listening to the recording as well. Might be good to close off the audio portion here. I think you can all stay just in the A&O channel and answer questions. But maybe some closing thoughts, like what makes you excited for the future? What should people do now after listening to this call? Make people excited to maybe join the Discord, something like that.
Well, I guess what makes us excited for this is when this gets going and we are working hand in hand with Odyssey, we plan on helping them develop future content for their marketplace as we are building off of their marketplace for our games. And intrinsically, we are going to add value to their community because they are supporting ours outright with the marketplace. And as we progress, so will they. And on a final note, we've already mentioned some of our loftier goals for more expensive games that are completely unrealistic to do as a first game. We do plan to get to some of the more expensive ones later after we work on this card game, and one of the more interesting facets of our company is we intend to run our company as if it was like an ohm vault, where all of our funding that is not actively going to creating games or paying staff is being used in a vault strategy to increase our funding to the point to where we will be able to self-fund every game after this one, ideally. Perfect. And then I think if you can post the link to your Discord, people can join there. You can update everyone on the progress. And we'll see you definitely then in a couple of weeks or a month or one to really celebrate the launch together with the Omis, right? Indeed. And the final note I would like to go over is, how can people ape? Well, we will be releasing alpha packs that are only going to be ever sold once, and they will all have unique art and unique animations to basically flex, I was here first. These cards have no special abilities or anything, but they will be animated, they will be one of a kind, and once these packs are sold at founding, they will never be sold again, and therefore you will be able to show your OG status with some really kick-ass cards with animations and such, as well as masterwork cards.
By the way, I'll be posting the Discord link to it right now in the A&O AMA, and then I'll send it over to you, Wardle, so you can post it where you need it to.
Yeah, and I think cutting it here would be good, as Kage well knows, if you don't give me a time frame, I'm just going to keep rambling until everyone falls asleep.
Yeah. Exactly. So while everyone is still awake, let's close it here. Thank you for joining. Thank you everyone here. We had 200 to 300 people here during this call to join. Great questions, great interaction. Really love to see this project getting off the ground, and excited to play it together with everyone in here. Thank you, guys.
And I look forward to seeing you guys in matchmaking. Take
Bye.
care.